Start with you, mate. Obviously did the hammy, been out for a little while. How are you tracking?
Yeah, good. As good as you can be. Obviously doing a hamstring's not ideal, but tracking really well. Back running and hopefully, back playing soon.
You're one of the leaders around the footy club. A little bit of an experiment going to happen, I believe, where there's going to be a little bit of captaincy rotation. How do you feel about that, about getting experience into the group?
Yeah, I think it's great. We obviously had all these injuries this year, and opportunities probably the main thing we've gotten out of it. And rotating that sort of role, I think it's great for the boys in our leadership group. I think Duggo's doing it this week, which will be great to see how he responds to it. And I think Tommy Brass done a great job. I don't think it has anything to do with that. It's just to get some exposure for some of our other leaders.
Given the state of play, given there's some injuries to some senior players, it's getting some experience into some of those younger boys, and Rhett Bazzo is one of those players. Unfortunately suffered a concussion, but he's showing some good signs.
Yeah, I think Rhett, as soon as he come in, we sort of knew he was going to be a good player, and unfortunate for him, he's copped the concussion and been out for a little bit, but I'm sure you'll see him throughout the rest of the year, and I'm pretty excited about him. I think he's going to be a great player for us, so hopefully he can get some more game time into him.
Elijah, welcome, mate. You've got a couple of games under your belt. How's the ankle?
Yeah, it's been good, mate. The rehab's been, it's been tough for your first season to miss a few games, but it's taught you a lot about the rehab process and everything it entails being an elite football player. As I said, it was pretty tough when it first happened, but I've learnt a lot and definitely better off for it.
What about getting out there and getting your first opportunity up with the tempo? How'd it feel?
Yeah, that first game against Freo, coming out the last score there was just incredibly exciting. Sorry, against GWS, then Freo afterwards. I've had 3 games now. They've all just been incredible. The atmosphere coming out is incredible, and just love running out in front of the boys and showing what I've got to offer. So obviously it's early stages, but exciting for what's to come. Dream
come true? Is that what it was for you to get your first game of AFL footy?
Yeah, definitely. I've dreamt of it as a kid, actually. Not under those exact circumstances. It all changes, but to get out there as an Eagle in front of my family. Grew up playing footy in this state, so incredibly fortunate.
And what about you young blokes sticking together? I've seen you out and about, a few movie nights and so on, and Ruben Jimby and the rest of the boys, Noah Long and others, Campbell, Chesser, who hopefully will be back in action this weekend. So I know the young boys have been sticking together. Yeah, we are. We're all incredibly close. Me and Ruben are, close to best mates, and all of us like to hang out on the weekends, do things together. I think that's one of the things about great football clubs is groups coming together, and our young group is real strong. We like to go grab lunch or something like that, and I think it's just incredibly important as we go up in the ranks in age that we stay strong, stay united, and that's one of our trademark values. Liam, I'm missing you out there, mate, kicking goals and taking marks and having fun and entertaining us. How are you tracking?
Yeah, good, mate. I was just going all right. Rehab's killing me, but got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Now, Sir Doug Nicholls rounds in a couple of weeks' time, and it's so special, and it celebrates our culture and of course, when it comes to the Indigenous and Aboriginal players that play this game, be nice to be back out there and be part of it, I'm sure. But what does that mean to you?
It means a lot, not just to me, but past players and players today. So it means a lot. Sad I won't be playing and putting on an Indigenous jumper this year, but hopefully a few of the boys who's playing now can put on a show for everyone.
As a young fella growing up and coming through your junior ranks, did you have any players that you admired and looked up to and wanted to emulate as you got older?
Yeah, Cyril Rioli, mate. Just love watching him when I was a kid. Not just him, but Jet Boy play, a few other players too, yeah.
Now, collectively, boys, I want to get your thoughts. Obviously, the tackle seems like that it's just about dead. It was the bump, I think, a year or so ago, Jez, when we were up here having a chat to our audience, but it now seems like the tackling, I mean, when Malthouse used to instruct us, tackle to hurt, that's what the instructions were. Now, there is no hurt. If you hurt a player, you're watching on.
Yeah, I've got to be careful what I say.
You can't get fined here. We won't tell anyone, will we?
I'm sure someone will take something from it and I'll get in trouble, but yeah, it's very, very tough, I think, for players these days. because you miss a tackle and it can really hurt you. But now if you make a tackle, and a lot of it is actually pretty good technique, but if you hurt them, unfortunately you're missing a week or two. So it's a fine line at the moment, but yeah, it's just the way it is. We just got to adapt to it, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm not 100% for it, but yeah, got to adapt.
Now, I know what you're like, but you two are forwards. Well, I've seen you play a little bit forward, probably not so much, but you. Now, Jacob Van Rooyen, have you seen his spoil? You must have seen his spoil. He's a forward, right? He would have shouted at you, being a defender, if you hadn't had a crack at trying to knock the ball away. Now, Charlie Ballard's gone down and he's been carried off, sadly, on a stretcher. But it was in the contest. The ball was there. He went for the ball. He didn't look at the man. It wasn't 50 metres off the play. We wouldn't have called it a gutless footy act, yet at the moment, they're appealing it tonight, the Melbourne Football Club, but at the moment he's on the sidelines for 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, I think it's pretty tough. They're obviously being real progressive about that, about the whole situation with the tackling. So some boys are on the firing line right now, and Van Rooyen is one of them. But they're obviously trying to make a statement, and I guess as players, you're just trying to adapt to what Gov said. I know it's a conservative answer, but they're going after it, so you just got to adapt.
You know, the one that they haven't outlawed yet is the knee to the back of the head. Now, I've seen you do this quite a few times, Liam, where you've actually got that beautiful ride. Jezzy, you might even cop one of these, but at least they haven't outlawed that part of your game, so you can play with a bit of flair.
Yeah, I won't be doing them no more. You've seen them at the Derby. I landed straight on my back, so I won't be doing none of that no more.
It's lucky Liam's only got small knees as well.
I want to know, how did you, I'm assuming that you hurt, was it your hammy at that point? How did you actually end up, after you did that acrobatic act, fall flat on your back, and then you actually came off and then you went back on? How did you actually finally do a hamstring?
It was when I made impact with the ground. You see, you would known about Weir saying us Indigenous players don't have hamstrings, but we do. When I made impact, I just stretched it a bit more than expected, and I went on and thought I was right to play, but tried to kick and take a jump for mark, but my leg gave away, so yeah.
Looked like you were stretching a lot of things in that particular moment. It was actually unbelievable what he was able to contort his body into. Jeremy.
Yeah, it was unbelievable what he did. It was a freak accident. What he did land on his back and doing his hamstring. I don't think that'd be a world first. And it just sums up us at the moment. I think that's the luck we're having as a footy club. But yeah, mine was didn't look quite like that. I wish it actually did. That would have been actually a bit more exciting.
Do you actually get fined for things like that? Like, because that was unusual. These are the sorts of unusual acts that behind the scenes I'm sure the fines master would have great pleasure in. Correct?
Yeah, if that's the case, we'll be going to Vegas for the next 3 months with the fines that we'll be getting with all the injuries we're getting at the moment. But no, we don't really go into those sort of fines too much. Yeah, it's pretty dull, our fine sessions these days.
Now, it's been a bit miserable given the number of injuries, because I can't believe at the start of the season, heading into round one, 42 of 44 players were fit, ready and raring to go. Now there's something like 25. There's only 4 blokes playing in your Waffles reserve side. The rehab group, I'm sure there's a lot of conversation going on. What are you doing behind the scenes? Because obviously we're seeing what's happening on the field, but what about away from the field? And what's going on behind the scenes to try and make sure that you help turn things around, which is what all the people want that are sitting out looking on tonight or today?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of work being done behind the scenes. I think people don't exactly understand how much it entails as a physio group and a strength and conditioning department. We've probably copped a bit of slack, but they're working real hard, like extra days we're coming in to get that extra recovery and things like that. And right now, there's obviously quite a few boys injured, but they're going above and beyond, and the players are going above and beyond. We know what it takes to get back to the elite level and get our bodies right. These boys are setting the standard, and us young boys are injured are flying the way. But yeah, it's extra conditioning, it's extra rehab, it's extra saunas, things like that. And it's, those 1% of things that as a club collectively will bring us back. And I know we're getting a lot of boys back in the next 2 weeks. I mean, myself coming back, we got a few boys like Longy, Hoffy. So yeah, it's comforting that we've got a few more numbers in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, it's sad to see some boys that are sidelined for a bit longer.
Tomorrow it's the Gold Coast. We have a later start Friday night, so it'd be good to see as many fans there as possible because it's going to be a little bit different to what we've experienced probably on a Friday night before with the later start time, with the other games starting earlier on the East Coast. But Gold Coast and the Challengers, they're certainly developing as a team. They took it right up to Melbourne last week, falling just short. It's not going to be an easy exercise tomorrow night.
No, I don't think there's any easy games in the AFL at the moment for anyone. Like you said, they took it up to Melbourne last week. Them at their best is right up there, so we're going to have to play extremely well, which we're preparing for. But I think we've showed some really good signs over the last few weeks. You put Carlton aside, I think a few of the games that we've strung together have looked pretty positive. So. It'd be great, and really, it has been great to still see the fans rocking up for us, and it does mean a lot to us as players and as a club, seeing all the fans still stick behind us and help us as much as they can, because we're trying to get back to success as quickly as possible, and with all the fans behind us, it makes things a lot easier.
Hey Liam, what are we doing to have fun around the joint, to keep things buoyant? Is there a little bit going on behind the scenes? Because I can recall back in 1989 when we weren't very good. We had an awful year. We kicked 1 goal against Essendon. I remember chasing blokes through the mud back on those days. And for those that have been long-time supporters, you'd probably remember. Chris Lewis, by the way, was our own goal kicker that particular day. What about behind the scenes and keeping it lively? Who are the boys that are generating the best clubman spirit behind the scenes to keep things up and about?
I don't know.
Liam's barely been there because he's been in rehab, but
been sleeping in, mate. No, just been for me. Rehab, Gov been, keeping it going, being strong, telling us to work hard and keep doing what we got to do. I don't know. I haven't seen the blokes who's playing for like 5 weeks. Don't know yet, but yeah.
Yeah, Simo puts a big priority on obviously how intense the training is and the schedule is, but he does put a big priority on when you step back off the track. We're obviously incredibly close. A few jokes here and there. When it's time to go and be intense, that's the time. But when you step off, we still got a few jokers. Liam undermines himself, but Liam cracks every joke at every hour of the club, so he's always up there. And then we got a few other boys that are real funny. So the spirit will never die at our club, that's for sure.
Everyone's talking about the track at Lath Lane and it's too hard and it's contributing to your injuries, but haven't we had up to 11 players injured in contest in games, like ankles and knees, and I could go on, throat, wrists?
Yeah, the further you dig into it, the more excuses you'll find for all the injuries, and sometimes it's just pure luck. It might be the ground, but I know the club will be doing everything they can to find out all the reasons and try and minimise it as much as possible. But the ground might be one, but a lot of them have just been contact injuries, and Liam landing on his head and doing his hammy, which is unheard of. There's just all these different little ones. Jai Cully on the weekend, there's just a bit of luck involved. So that might be one of the reasons, but if it is, I know what the footy club's like. They'll get it all sorted as soon as possible.
What about away from the club? What are you getting up to? Any fishing? No fishing. Not yet.
Fishing? I could probably go fishing now, but I'm knuckle deep in rehab, so the bye is coming up in a few weeks, so you might see a couple of fishing photos, Carl.
Elijah?
Yeah, we've been playing a bit of golf. It's kind of picked up at our club over the last probably couple of years, but not that I've been there, but the boys have told me. So yeah, you might have seen Dom's new golf Instagram page that's been popping off, so we all like to get down. Yesterday, me, Ruben went for a hit. Been out a bit of golf.
Liam?
Well, I get 4 days off next week, so hopefully I can go travel somewhere. I don't know where, but yeah.
Yeah, I must say, I just got some nice pictures sent to me from a friend of mine who's up in Broome. It looks pretty nice and warm up there, mud crabs and threadfin salmon and coral trout and all that sort of stuff. We can only dream, but we might be able to do it at the end of the season. Boys, thank you very much for taking time out. I know that you've just been at weights and training, and you've taken time out in your day to drop by and have a chat to us today here on stage. Thanks very much for your time. I wish you all the best for the rest of the season, and let's hope to see you back out there playing some footy at some stage. Take care.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.